Welcome back, guys. So today I wanted to do something a little different. I had other video ideas that I needed to record, but this has been dwelling on me all day. So earlier I dropped the video speaking about the Dreamcade replay, the Kickstarter, kind of talking about the specs and the case design and certain other things that were announced and kind of, the information starting to trickle out on it. So on that video, a lot of people dropped some very interesting comments, a lot of criticisms, just some things that I wasn't really thinking about. And I figured right now, because this has been just dwelling on me all day, reading these comments, like, yeah, there's some strange stuff going on and some interesting stuff. So what I want to do is go through, look at some of these comments that have some pretty good information in them and just kind of comment on them. So commenting on the comments, a lot of criticisms, not geared toward me, geared towards the Dreamcade replay. Typically they're geared towards me, but hey, it's a nice change of pace. So what I want to do is look at these and just kind of go through. So first up, we have a comment from Beaumont. He's been around for a while. A lot of you guys know him. He has a lot of smart things to say about a lot of these things. So I want to read his comment first because it's actually the first one that comes up, and it's the one that really had me thinking more so. But a lot of people have a lot of cool comments and interesting stuff. But so his comment, his thoughts: horse shit. At this point, we have kickstarted their front end because nothing else is anything they did. So Pabst, he did kickstart this as well. He did pledge. And essentially this first point, he says, we kickstarted their front end because nothing else is anything they did. I agree with him, but one thing is their front end already existed. So what did we really kickstart? Yeah, they kind of probably tweaked some things with the front end, but their front end already existed for their Dreamcade, arcade machines. So in reality, what did we kickstart? As far as an original idea, I guess you would say, or original product, because essentially this is a shrunk down version of a pre-existing product that they offer. So I guess that kind of leads into some more things, but we'll talk about that in a moment. So he goes on to say they didn't design the hardware, they didn't design the emulation, they didn't design the case. The case is a big one, because that was a big selling point, and a lot of people mentioned that in the comments, that was kind of what was pleasing to the eye. And we knew earlier on that they weren't going to release it in that Atari styled case, simply because, most likely legal issues. So what we still were expecting was an actual, case designed by Dreamcade. So he goes on to say they've missed the original delivery date by 3 months, which is true. Original expectation was somewhere around Christmas, which, I'm not really knocking them for that because it was kind of apparent we weren't getting this thing by Christmas. But yes, they did miss it. And he goes on to say from this update, they are just shoveling a mini PC that's over a year old. That is true. From the specs and the case and everything, it's a mini PC that's been out for a long while. The fact they split the company, this is the comment that really got me thinking, because I'm a business person myself. I've studied business. I have degrees in business. And this kind of makes sense. So he says the fact that they split the company makes me feel like they're preparing for the worst case, in case the whole thing falls through. It won't financially impact their original company. So that kind of makes sense, separating the entities from one another, because if this falls apart and they make no money, they go bankrupt, they don't want the assets, and they want to be protected from their main business, the company that, what they do, the arcade machines and all that. They don't want to lose everything because of this. That's speculation, that's just opinion, but to me it makes sense. I mean, splitting up the company just in case, or separating the entities in two different, corporations. That way, if one gets jacked up for whatever reason, legal actions, these licensing issues that are most likely a problem. The possibility of very little return, or just being in the red on this unit, selling this unit. They don't want that to affect their main business. So he says, every delay explanation just sounds bogus. Case redesigns, which was true, they never redesigned a damn case. Shopping manufacturers in China, contracts, lawyers, sure, these all sound like legit problems. But I feel like we are on plan D or E at this point, and they are scrambling to put something out there, and what we are getting is something that already exists. Exactly. So that's one of the biggest points here is we're getting something that already exists. We're not getting any proprietary hardware. We're not getting anything that was pieced together. This system, from the specs that they have provided, already exists. The case design that they've showed already exists with the same specs. It's already out there. Yes, it's cheaper through them than other places, but it already exists. So it kind of reminds me of those Nintendo Switch dock, Indiegogo, Kickstarter things, where they were just the Samsung docks, and they were just kickstarting. They were just grabbing those from China to sell them as Nintendo Switch docks. Like, they didn't actually do anything. They just took a pre-existing product and sold it for a different use. So that's kind of what it reminds me of. So Paps goes on saying he's not trying to be too harsh, and he's really hoping for the best. But if he could pull out of the back and get his money back, he'd have done it a while ago. Them trying to sell me more peripherals at this point just seems like they are desperate for money to keep this whole thing from falling through. Anyway, really hope I'm wrong. I hope you're wrong too, but you're a smart guy, Paps. So the points you make here are all very valid and criticisms that are worthy of being brought up. And he's got a few replies on there, but it just is what it is. Like I said, Paps kind of summed it up there pretty nicely. A lot of that does concern me. So then another comment, James Keefe, just wait for it to be released and someone will make the software available and you can put the software in any Windows 10 machine you want. Inevitable. That is going to happen. Somebody is going to rip their software off of these little computers and distribute it and, disable whatever online, or figure out some kind of workaround if there's any kind of key to it and whatnot. But that part is inevitable. Somebody's going to rip the software, provide it out online. People are going to grab it and use it for their own means. But that also leads into something else. We're buying a pre-existing system, and there's a lot of other better systems out there. I'm going to cost you a little more. And there's a couple comments, I can't find them on here. Like, I had to approve them, but they're not coming up at the moment. But one person had brought up the Ryzen APUs, which are fairly cheap. You could build a decent PC, very cheap, especially if you got connection on parts or if you just go cheap on certain components. But you could definitely build a decent computer for around a couple $100 with these Ryzens that are out now, that it will just blow this thing out the water, just hugely blow it out the water. But then the other thing too is while technology advances, and this mini PC is way out of date now, it should have dropped in price anyway, because there's comparable mini PCs out there, with very similar specs for a similar price. It's just with this timeline and the future just coming quicker and quicker, we're gonna have more access to these mini devices with better specs and whatnot. But my thought too is that if we kickstarted their front end, I don't have any experience with their front end, so I can't really criticize it too much, but there are amazing front ends out there already. Launchbox with Big Box, Hyperspin. You can use a track mode emulation station on your PC. There's a lot going on. One of my favorites is Launchbox with Big Box. It is an amazing front end to use and very easy to set up. You know, just click, 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 just follow the steps and you're good to go. There's nothing to it, it just takes a little time. I don't know how their front end works, but from what I understand with their mini PC, it is going to be pre-set up for you, but you know, what else is going to be on there? A couple other people did bring up, what about the licensed games? So I know there was a comment on here asking about the licensed games. Let me see if I can even find it. Probably not. Comments are all getting jacked up on here. All right, here, Joel Shook, he says, I thought they promised licensed games and a front end where you can just take a picture of a game in your collection and it will go download it. Maybe backers suggested they don't do that either. So I don't know with the little picture thing, because I haven't heard any information on that. I didn't really care to begin with. Nobody's going to do that. Everybody's just going to load up ROMs or download them from the, whatever place. Don't want to say anywhere specific, but people are just going to load their own stuff anyway that they're going to load ROMs that they've gotten one way or another. But as far as the licensed games, what's going to be on this thing that comes with it, who the heck knows? They're still working out the details. It's crunch time, but it seems like everything's being done at the last minute. So that's a big problem. Let's see, what else? People talking about international shipping. I don't really know much about that. People that are, old Atari gamer, he's on the sidelines for this one. He already has a few video game related Kickstarter contributions that haven't quite played out as planned. Yep, and a few other people do kind of talk about that. Alfred L, Kickstarter expectation should always be low, always. And that is something that I had mentioned previously. It's a gamble. It's still a gamble with the Dreamcade replay because we don't know what the heck we're getting. We know what we're getting. We're getting a pre-existing PC for a discounted price, essentially. But who knows of the quality of it yet, anyway. It could be lesser. It could be better. Could be middle ground of what is already out there. Who knows? We don't know who's manufacturing this for them. And I'm sure they'll say, no, this is not this PC. We had this specific company put everything together. But in China and Shenzhen, a lot of these companies, they produce the same things and they just all manufacture the same stuff. So if one company puts out a mini PC, another company's going to do the same thing. That's just what happens. So I just think they got a company that's like, yep, we can do what you want. Here you go. Smack your logo on that bad boy and boom, we'll give you a bulk discount. You buy like 10,000 of them or something. Who knows? So yeah. So next comment here we got from G Styles 0107. This thing seems pointless if you already have a Raspberry Pi with a couple 128 gigabyte images. I mean, yeah, it's faster, but the Raspberry Pi 4 will be out next year and will most likely blow this thing out of, I guess he was to say out of the water. Oh yeah, there it is. Blow this thing out of the water in price and performance. People always bring up Pi 4. There's no official announcements. There's no official, anything. It's just all speculation. We don't know what the heck, if a Pi 4 does come out, if its specs are going to be better than the Pi 3, if the specs are going to be better than what the Dreamcade replay is using. That is all just wishful thinking. We don't know. The Raspberry Pi Foundation, their goal with what they do is not gaming. They don't care about, it sells a ton of them, so I'm sure they care a little bit, but that's not what they put the Pi out for. So who knows if a Pi 4 does come out, what it will have. Will there just be minor differences? Will it be just completely rehauled? Will it be powerful enough to play, GameCube games? Who knows? I don't think they really think like that. I don't think they say, hey, we got to plan the next one because these guys want to, they want to emulate GameCube. I don't think that's the way it works, but we'll see. We'll see. It's all a big maybe. It really is a big maybe. So let me see. Mike Milo here, Milo, if they are using an existing system that has been around for a while, why did they go to Kickstarter and Thunderdome? I couldn't remember the name of that show until I read his comments. Thunderdome. To get all that money, is rebranding of the case decal that expensive that they needed a couple $100K for this horse shit? There's a lot. Let's just, this video has been going on for a minute here, but there's a lot of criticism out there. Is it warranted? I want to say yes. Yes, it is. Because the more and more you think about this, and, I'm not leaning too far to I'm just pissed, or too far to I'm super excited. Even after thinking on all this, I'm still in the middle. It was $100. The PC that is just a clone or copy of typically is going for almost double that. But it does come with the base. With these guys, you got to buy the base. So not really double, a little bit more. So maybe, I don't know what they're making on these. We won't know unless somebody can get a hold of their get a hold of their records as far as invoicing and all that stuff, which is not likely. Are they banking on profiting off of the peripherals, the extras, with the garbage controllers, selling the little add-on base that typically comes with these systems, selling additional power supplies, selling overpriced disk space? Maybe that's what they're banking on. Who knows? But I think the criticisms are warranted. I think, like a lot of people are saying, this is horse shit. I feel that is a fair assessment for people at this moment. I'm still in the middle. I'm interested. I'm curious. I really want to get this device in my hands and see what it can do. I'm more curious on how their front end works, how fluid it is, how easy it is to use, how easy it is to add games to it, how easy it is to make sure your controllers are configured properly. Just, does the system boot into their front end? I mean, I would hope so. Does it, boot up into Windows 10 and then you have to start it? Who knows where they're at this point with all the, there's a lot of skepticism out there with what they're doing, especially now that we're seeing that it's just a rebranded PC that already exists with their pre-existing software. So take it for what it's worth. Appreciate you guys stopping in. Just kind of wanted to rant on this a little bit and just kind of read those comments and comment on them. So appreciate it. Smash that like button, subscribe, do all that cool stuff, and I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye. Boom.